Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. This is one of my all-time favorite stamps. It's from Carolyn Shores Wright. I love her birds, and I love coloring this one in particular. I've made many cards with this, but never one on my YouTube channel. So I had shown it in a video, and someone asked me would I make a card with it, and so I am. I'm using some Colorbox archival ink because I'm going to be using some watercolors on it, and I'm using just some regular blue paper. It's going to just be my background. I'm going to put it on another piece of paper, but I wanted to make sure that I got this all colored well. I have a lot of problems with little marks on this because it has so many little nooks and crannies. So I'm going to show you how you get rid of them. When you ink your stamp up, if you see any dark ink on your stamp like this is, what you have to do is you have to cut those pieces out, or you end up sometimes getting them on your background. So in this case, I think the mark I'm getting is between these two little birds right here, so I'm going to get rid of that real fast. And over here, I'm thinking I'll get rid of some of it on the end as well. Okay, so that's what it looks like after you cut out all those marks. Got one more little spot here I want to cut out. And then, hopefully, when we ink it this time, and I'm going to ink it over here, hopefully we won't have any more little marks. And if you didn't see the mark, it's right there. And this time we're going for perfection. I'm gonna ink it one more time, just because I'm going for that perfection, you know. Okay. So then we're gonna just try and put it right there. Perfection. I know you're shocked. So that is that stamp. Now remember, I think I told you in the video where we talked about different kinds of stamp or inks. I told you that if you use an archival ink, you want to immediately clean your stamp off. So I have a special ink remover for this kind of ink. It's from Hero Arts, and it's really smelly and really strong, but it does work really good in getting the excess ink off. Now I like to, after I use it, I like to spray my stamp once more with water, because I don't like that really harsh ink remover to be on my stamp forever. I like to clean that off. Okay, so now it's wiped off. So let's trim down our image and be ready to go. So what I've done is I've put my stamp that I want to kind of duplicate above my image that I'm going to be coloring, and I'm using this is a Caran d'Ache Super Color 3888, and this is a Derwent Inktense Red Oxide. Then the rest are all my favorites, which are Prismacolors, and they are Dark Umber, Sienna Brown, Copenhagen, Terracotta, and Non-Photo Blue. So those are the colors I'm going to be using on this, and I'm going to put them off to the side so you can see them. And I thought the first thing I would do would be feet and beaks, because then we'll be sure that I don't forget to do them. I sometimes forget the little wee things, and I don't want to do that, because you know, these things happen. And I'm not going to have you watch me do this for long periods of time, because I know that a lot of you don't enjoy that. So I am just going to have Rich fast forward through all the coloring so that at the end you can pick up where I've left off. I think I'm going to use this set that's a Stampin' Cut from Hero Arts that's hello, and make a hello, you make me smile, or whatever. I haven't decided which one. Just a note to say thinking of you, something like that. Okay, so before I go any further, since I want to do my hello, what I think I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take my dark blue pencil and color in I'm going to do it, and then we'll wet it down and liquefy it, and we'll dry it up. We just want to make sure our color is nice and vibrant on that blue. We're good to go. I'll dry it and I'll be right back. Okay, now let's turn it this way and put this down at the very bottom like that. Put that there, and I'll put it down here. It'll hold it in place. I'm going to try VersaFine because I know it's a darker ink. So at this point, I cut a piece of paper that was 1/4 of an inch bigger, and one that I could definitely fit my card on. And I think my end result is 3 1/4. My card is going to be 3 1/4 across, and like 6 1/2 top to bottom, scored in the middle. So it's going to look like that. And I think I'm going to glue that down first. I'm using a textured paper that I'm not really fond of, but that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes you just have to get rid of paper like that. You know, you gotta use it. Gotta use it up. So that's my plan at this point. I'm just going to get rid of it, and hopefully this will stick down. If it doesn't, I can always use my tear tape on it. So at this point, I've glued my paper down. When you use that, this kind of glue, it comes off really easy. So if you do have a problem where you made it a little crooked and you need to fix it, that'll do it for you. And then I'm going to put some of this glue, hopefully, on the back of my hello, or maybe I'll find another glue that'll come out. That's what I'll use. Another glue that'll definitely come out, hopefully. And I'm going to make sure that I don't get so much, well, I'm hoping to not get so much that I end up having it seep out from underneath. That's the goal. I did layer up, I think 3 or 4 layers of this hello because I wanted it to really stand out, and so I thought the best way to do it would be what I just said, just layer it up. So I took glue and just made layers. You can see it if you look at it from the side. You can see that it looks nice and thick, and I'm going to lay it down the way it likes to lay, and in this case this hello likes to lay on kind of an ovally. It likes to bend, and I'm okay with that. I think it looks kind of nifty when it does that, so I'm just letting it do that. I think I'm going to go with this very thin, it's a beige or beigey ribbon, and I think I'm just going to lift the edges of my card up and shove this under. I don't think I'm going to put any kind of bow on it. I might change my mind, you know, I'm prone to do that, but right now I think what I'm going to do is just lift it up like this, and I'm going to put a little of the wet glue on my ribbon on the ends of it, and then I'm going to just tuck it under there like that, and hopefully I'm going to hold it for just a second. Hopefully it'll stay, but I'm going to hold it for just a second, and then I'm going to take it to this other end and lift it up. Second first, same as the first, and put a little bit of the wet glue on the ends of it. Oh, come on, buddy. I'm also going to put a little bit more of the tape runner. Oh, I didn't want that to happen. Got it on my front of my card. I didn't want that to happen. Did you want that to happen? I doubt it. Okay, I'm going to pick it up and then hold it down and stick it under like that. Hopefully it's still facing the right direction. And then I'm going to make a little fake knot right here. And the best way to do that, if you're going to make a fake one, the best way to do it is just if you know how to make a knot, you do right over left and then left over right, but I'm only going to do a single knot. I'm not going to make mine into a big knot because I really want mine to be simple and show up on the card as something that would be kind of just I don't know what the word is. Organic looking? I don't know. Is that a good word? We'll use that. And then I'm going to cut on an angle my little bow edges. I gotta turn it more because I don't want to cut my bow, and you know I might. Come on, buddy. I should have gotten my bow scissors, huh? I know that's what you're thinking. That's what I'm thinking. We're all thinking the same thing. Okay, so there's that part of it. Now all I need to do is I'm going to put a little drop of this underneath that knot. That way we can hold that in place and make sure that our ribbon doesn't run amok. I have to stamp the back, and I think I already said that this is paper that's got a pattern or a texture to it, so I'm going to try and hold this in place and really hold it down. There you go. Because otherwise, if I hadn't, those waffly textures would have made it not, you wouldn't have had a good card or a good connection there. So here's our card so far. Now we have to just make our envelope. And I don't have this size envelope because I think we talked about it already. My card is a little bit of an unusual size. And no, I still haven't changed my blade on my trimmer yet. Okay, here's what you do. If you've never seen me do this, I like to make sure you see me do it at least once. You're going to take your card, you're going to measure it from corner to corner, and this is about 7 3/4 inches. You add 1 inch to it, that makes it 8 3/4, and that's the size you're going to cut square a piece of paper. Then you're going to take your paper, your card, and you're going to center it in the middle of this, because you want to make sure that everything is, I'm going to do it inside out because I don't want the texture part on the outside. I want it on the inside. So what we're going to do is we're going to lay it on the inside and try to get it in the center if we can. You want to make sure that you really eyeball this as much as you can. Then you're going to bend in your sides like that. And over here, you're going to bend in this side, but you're going to give yourself a little bit more wiggle room because you have that hello that sticks up. And you want to make sure that that hello has a little room to get into the card, if you know what I mean. Then we're going to take our bottom and we're going to fold it up. Now, if you've noticed this, my fold is kind of overlapping what we just did. That's okay because we're going to cut little squares out. Okay. The first thing you want to do is you want to decide, do I want this to be a big point that sticks up too high? And if the answer is no, and my answer is no, you're going to want to cut it and try to cut this as straight as possible so that you end up with something that looks like that. Then we're going to fold down the top of our card. Again, remember, you're going to end up with a little bit of overlap, and I'm going to not make mine as overlappy as it could be. There's a word for you. Because if I overlap it as much as I want to, my point is going to go off the bottom of the card, and we don't want that. Okay, so now I have all of my folds made. You're going to take it back out, take the card out, and the next thing you're going to do is figure out where I threw my scissors. There they are, right there where I knew them. You're going to have corners here that have like a little square to them. You want to get rid of those because any excess envelope parts that stick out like that, you don't want, because if you get those in there, you're going to have so much bulk you won't be able to get your envelope closed. So I'm going to kind of trim that so it's kind of on an angle, but looks normal like an envelope. You see this little spot here? It's like a triangle. We're going to cut that out. That's the spot I'm talking about we don't want in our card. So we're going to cut that out. Everywhere that you see that on your four corners, you have to get rid of it. And again, you want to kind of try and clean up any spots that when you cut them, you made them a little weird. And remember, at the top we didn't do a fold as much as at the bottom, so we're not going to have as big of a triangle to cut out. Okay, there's that one. And some of these pieces you will not see because they're going to be hidden, but some you will, so you have to take that into consideration. You're going to fold in these two pieces and fold this up. And I have a little bit of what I call wonky paper that I got to get rid of off the edge. Nobody's going to see any of that anyway because it's on the inside of your card. And I'm using tear tape because I don't like it when my envelopes come apart. I don't think you will either. So use a stronger adhesive. This is a thicker paper than I normally would use for an envelope. So really think about that. If your paper is thicker, you're going to want to make sure that you use some tape or something that is going to be really strong. I don't recommend tape runner for this because I don't think it's strong enough. The other thing that's nice about this is if you're sending these cards, like a group of cards as a gift, it's really nice to add the tear tape on the top and don't take the liner off of it, and that way the person just has to take the liner off to create a card that they can send in the mail. They don't have to figure out what kind of glue to use, things like that. Okay, so there is this part of my envelope. Now remember, I didn't make my top as long, so my point ends up right there, which is exactly what I wanted. Alright, next up we're going to put the something on the back of our envelope, and I thought what would be fun to do would be to put this little bird house and maybe a bird cage I'm talking about, not a bird house. I bet most bird houses don't look like this. Making sure I got it covered. This is a stamp I've never used before, and sometimes they just don't want to accept the ink like you'd want them to. So I'm just going to stamp it right there and hope we get a really good impression. I do have a bunch of foam underneath where I'm stamping that really will help you make a better impression, and pushing it down as much as possible will also help. Now, if you don't get it as dark as you'd like it to, and in this case I'm not as in love with it as I can be, what you can do is you can take a black marker and you can just kind of, I'm going to turn it sideways because I'm better coloring up and down. The only other thing I can do, and this is something that we can do that would be fun, is this little bird. I hope this little birdie fits in the birdhouse, but if it doesn't, these are the things that happen to me, as you know. I pick birds that are too big for the birdie house, and then I sing about it because I can. Okay, let's see if I can get our birdie to fit in our birdie house. I mean, the bird came out okay, it's just that you can't really see it well, so I'm going to have to color it a little bit. So let me grab a couple markers and we'll color this little birdie in here so you can see it. There is the back of our envelope, and as I said, if you're going to be sending this to somebody or giving it as a gift to somebody so that they get it and they are going to mail it, you're going to want to put some kind of tear tape like this on it for them so that they can then remove the backing once they put the card in the mail. And you always want to make sure that that isn't going to land, you know, inside the card so your card gets stuck in there. So here is our card. Get that out of the way. And our envelope with our little birdie on it. Hold on, I'm going to use my finger to make this stay shut. There, that's a little bit better. So there's our bird and our bird card. I hope you enjoyed this and that you'll give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell one friend about me on social media. I would love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.